Hi guys, today we will study about the physiology of heart or the working or function of heart or how the deoxygenated blood gets oxygenated. So, we will first try to understand it with the help of a flowchart. So, here is the flowchart. So, let's start. The deoxygenated blood of the body goes to the heart by vena cava, and via vena cava it enters right atrium or right auricle. Then from the right auricle it enters the right ventricle. Then from the right ventricle via the pulmonary artery the blood goes to the lungs. Here lungs add up oxygen and the deoxygenated blood becomes oxygenated. So from lungs the blood enters to the left auricle via the pulmonary vein, and from the left auricle it goes to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle it reaches the whole body via aorta, and then again the body uses the oxygen, blood gets deoxygenated, and this cycle goes on and on. So this is a very simplified in a form of flow chart. Now let's try to understand it on a diagram. So here is a diagram of heart, and as we can see lungs is mentioned here. These are lungs, let's suppose. So the blood via the vena cava, both upper and lower, enters the right atrium. Then the blood gets collected here to a certain limit. Then when the atrium contracts, the valve opens and the blood enters the right ventricle. Similarly, blood fills up the ventricle up to a certain point. The ventricles contracts, these semilunar valves open, and via this pulmonary artery blood goes to the lungs. Here the blood gets oxygenated and it enters to the left auricle via these pulmonary veins, and similarly the blood gets filled here also in the left auricle to a certain limit, and then this left auricle contracts, this valve opens, and the blood enters to the left ventricle. Then when blood fills up the left ventricle to a certain limit, the left ventricle contracts and these semilunar valves open, and the blood via aorta reaches to the whole body. So when we said the left auricle contract, right auricle contract, left ventricle contract, the both the auricles contract simultaneously, means when the right auricle contracts, at the same time left auricle also contracts. So when the blood goes into the right ventricle, at the same time blood goes to the left ventricle. Similarly, both of the ventricles contracts together. So when the blood goes to the pulmonary artery, via pulmonary artery to the lungs, at the same time the blood pumps out of the aorta to the whole body. So this is a very simple thing to understand, that the arteries and veins are the carrier. These four chambers, blood gets filled into them up to a certain point, then they contract, and then blood goes to their next stop, and the valves plays an important role, as they don't let the blood flow back in the wrong direction. Like when the blood goes from the right auricle to the right ventricle, the valves closes. So when the ventricle contracts, all the blood goes to the lungs, not back into the right auricle.